Hey, what's going on, guys? Tyler here, and today I want to discuss how I view my profitability of my inventory and just a few metrics that I'm looking at regularly to kind of see where my inventory is going in terms of profitability and how much money, if I invest, can I expect to get back out of my business. So, to give you a better understanding of how these interact with each other, the turns rate, the ROI, and your inventory value, I put together this calculator on this little web page just for this video so that I could visualize it for you and show you a very simple way to kind of figure out how much inventory you need to get to kind of a goal that you set for yourself. Maybe you can just figure out your estimated monthly profit. Keep in mind, this is your estimated monthly gross profit. This doesn't take into consideration other fees you may have. For me, I have software cost. I have PPC running now, very, very small campaigns. It's just kind of testing. There's customer returns. I pay Ecom Solutions a fee every month to use their software and get the suppliers. Then just random things that happen in Amazon's warehouse. So to get this monthly estimated profit, we're just, like I said, going to use three variables: our inventory value, our turns rate, and our ROI. For those that don't know what the turns rate is, it's a very simple number. It's how many times a year are you going to sell through your current inventory value. So if you have $10,000 of inventory in and you pretty much keep $10,000 of inventory in at all times and you sell through $120,000 of inventory a year, your turns is going to be 12 because you're selling your inventory 12 times a year essentially. Ever since I started doing wholesale FBA, my turns has fluctuated between 4 and 8, but most of the time it's around 5 or 6. So I'm going to keep the low end here and just say that my turns rate is 5. My ROI, it fluctuates as well on a daily basis based on if I'm trying to sell out of maybe inventory that hasn't been moving. So you kind of have to look at this on a broader spectrum, and you have to think about overall for the past 6 months, what has my ROI been? My ROI for the past 6 months has been exactly 24.5% on my inventory. These two numbers right here are set up well for me to kind of project if I keep sourcing the same types of products with the same rank and the same sell-through and all that. So now to project where I want to be in, if I want to make $10,000 a month, how much inventory do I actually need to do that? So let's just say that all things remain the same. I keep sourcing solid products. I have a 5 turns rate and a 24.5% ROI for the future. I want to see how much inventory I need to make that 10K a month. So obviously, when we had 10,000 in there, it's pretty easy to calculate. That's 1,021. So now I need $100,000 of inventory to make $10,000 a month. Now that seems like a lot of money to put into inventory, especially if you come from the dropshipping world where you don't need to put any inventory or any capital up front. Everything is done once a transaction occurs. But if you think about it relative to other investments or other businesses, how many businesses can you keep $100,000 in, or how many investments can you keep $100,000 in and make $120,000 a year of this gross profit? Not many. And then, say your expense ratio is around 25-30%. You're gonna make $7,000 every month off of $100,000. I don't know many business models that can do that. The stock market, on $100,000 a year, you're gonna make $10,000 total. It seems like a big investment, as I said, especially to a dropshipper, someone who comes from that world of putting zero out to make money. So on the 5 turns and 24.5% ROI, you can see that this 10,200 is estimated. Now, what if my turns becomes lower? Maybe the inventory I'm buying isn't as good, or I go for a higher ROI, because these two things interact with each other, where if you want to get a higher ROI on the same inventory that you have, you're probably going to get a lower turns, or you're definitely going to get a lower turns, because you're going to raise your minimum profit margin on all of your inventory. If you have a 4 turns and a 30% ROI, then you're making about the same as if you had that 24.5% ROI and the 5 turns. So with 5 turns, you're basically selling your inventory every 72 days. With 4 turns, you're selling it every 90 days. Now, let's say you have $5,000 of fixed cost a month that you need to cover on $100,000 of inventory. I want to see if you have basically an average ROI. How bad can you be at sourcing before that becomes unprofitable? You can sell your inventory every 144 days, which is pretty bad, and you can still be at that break-even number. So that's just how I use this calculator to figure out where I want to be, how much inventory, or how much I'm going to make if I get the inventory I want in there. Because my whole goal is to get $100,000 of inventory. And I have a feeling that, I can pretty much maintain 4 to 5 turns pretty easily. And I think worst case scenario, I'll probably be around, like, this is the absolute worst case scenario that I'm doing here. So if I have $100,000 of inventory, then $7,500 a month of estimated profit is still pretty solid. And this would be if I was really bad at sourcing inventory. So as you put more money into your business, you would think that there's diminishing returns because you get all the low-hanging fruit first, especially in something like e-com solutions. You think you find all these winners right away, but the truth is you probably actually get better at sourcing over time. So early on, these numbers, these turn rates, these ROIs might be worse than what they're going to be in a year from now, and you could have even more inventory in a year from now. So yeah, that is a very, very basic overview of how you can view your inventory's profit. This model obviously only works if you're replenishing your inventory and keeping that inventory value around the same number all the time. I do have a more complex Excel model that projects, monthly income based on how much inventory or how much profit you're reinvesting in your inventory, customer return rates, calculating different fixed costs in there like software. Appreciate you watching this video. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Thank you.